So before really anyone even had a chance to take a breath and recognize this entire situation, Kyrie Irving both requests and is granted a trade all within a 72-hour window. And out of all teams that you even would have considered to be in the running for this sweepstakes, you're telling me that the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic are the ones to come away with him? Well, for any of you that confidently thought that this was going to happen, I can honestly say myself that I did not see this one coming. But from all the analysts immediately pulling up to the scene, rushing to say whether they love this, they hate this, or even some that are ridiculously already trying to predict what Kyrie Irving's next move will be before we've seen him play a single game in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, let's just pause for a second and get into what might be one of the biggest takeaways we can make from this blockbuster deal that kind of just seems to be going over the majority of people's heads that are actually discussing this. One sec though, guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NBA video. We're going to be coming out with brand new NBA content every single week around here, especially with the trade deadline looming, so trust me, you do not want to miss it. But anyway, to get back on topic with Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks, yes, okay, while the last few months, even years of Kyrie's career definitely haven't been the prettiest from a media intake perspective, and while the various reasons for this are rather obvious, and we definitely don't need to get into any more detail than we already have, it's just more or less that everything seen from Kyrie Irving over recent time that doesn't have to do with his actual basketball career has pretty much just acted as a full shadow over his literal basketball career, and not to mention some of the ridiculous performances he has continually put up time and time again this season. Now yes, while he was rightfully named an all-star, and from time to time we have seen people give him the flowers he deserves for his God-given talent put on full display, but if you're gonna try to tell me we hear more about the fact that he might be having the best and most efficient season of his entire career more than his off-the-court antics, I'm sorry, but that is simply just not the case. But now, with what is hopefully going to be an act of pushing all of the nonsense and rumors out the window, at least for a few months until we hit the summer, we have Kyrie, we have Luka, and we have one of, if not the most entertaining new backcourts in the league, and for now, that's all we need to worry about. But, of course, as I'm almost obligated to bring this up to you, what if Kyrie and Luka don't work out after all? Because, aside from the actual trade itself, which I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions as to how risky you view this from the sense of being the Dallas Mavericks, the idea of these two just not working out together in the end has really been all I've heard since this deal actually went down, and at the very least, it's what I've heard the most, and it's not even close. And I do get it to an extent, because whether you want to talk about the defensive concerns, the situational ball handling, or even the remaining pieces surrounding these guys at the 1 and 2 positions, while there were definitely some people out there on cloud 9 just imagining these two playing together in a Dallas Maverick uniform, there were, of course, also those who tried to shut this down almost as soon as they possibly could. But when you're actually speaking in the sense of both Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, who almost instantly say throwing these two in a backcourt together will cause nothing more than ultimate chaos, and also in turn even say it will play as a major disadvantage to both of them, really just seems like a complete stretch out of nowhere. And I say this in the sense that both of their styles of play, also along with literal concrete evidence from their past, almost fully indicate that both of these guys are more than capable of thriving side by side in such a heavy reliant backcourt offense. Now, just in case any of you somehow already forgot not too long ago, Luka shared a backcourt with the more than not ball-dominant player in Jalen Brunson, who, while Luka definitely did more in terms of usage, still did more than he was given credit for in terms of contributing to the team's success. And to get even further into that, when comparing the success of Dallas last season compared to this year, while sure, Luka's individual numbers have taken quite the leap for obvious reasons, it's looked more and more clear as time has continually passed that having another ball-dominant or offensive-generating player might just be the best-case scenario for this team after all. It's funny, you know, like, Who would have thought? I mean, you legitimately cannot exaggerate this. The Mavs have Luka handling the ball at a historically absurd rate so far this season, and thank God they pulled the trigger on this trade, just in the sense of giving this man a breather on the court more often than he's able to right now. Because with Kai stepping in, not only does it allow for someone other than Luka to be able to consistently create offense both for himself and his teammates, causing their opponents to shift their focus, but even just being able to watch him expand his abilities in operating off the ball, which clearly now is going to be possible to a far higher degree than we've really ever seen in the short span of his career so far. Then, of course, there is Kyrie Irving, which, like Luka, there is absolutely no convincing that needs to be done as to how effective he and his team are when the ball is in his hands. But still, as we've become so accustomed to Kyrie Irving being the clear runaway ball handler for the Brooklyn Nets, whether healthy or not, over the last 4 years or so, it seems that some of you just happen to forget about all of his off-ball abilities and creativity that he showed us time and time again when playing side by side with the pure definition of a ball-dominant superstar in LeBron James. And sure, while this was a few years back, and while Doncic currently does handle the ball and will continue to handle the ball more than LeBron ever did in their tenure together, it cannot be denied in any stretch of the imagination that we still saw Kai absolutely go to work in doing everything that would be needed in an off-ball situation to generate offense. And as it's becoming more and more of a narrative at this point, with Luka being more known to put his teammates in the best situations possible to get their own opportunities and again create offense, being able to throw Kyrie Irving into the mix of this, while his shooting efficiency is no secret already, and the fact that he's putting up these numbers while creating most of his own offense as well, just imagine how much you could see this improve with his two-guard increase we're likely going to see as time goes on. And well, you guys, if it worked in this sense with LeBron James 6 years ago, I see absolutely no reason for doubt for a second as to why Kyrie Irving and Luka, again with time, can be just as effective side by side. And while I'm rather sure that I still probably haven't convinced most of you that this pairing will be successful yet, the Dallas Mavericks title odds being cut straight in half after the acquisition of Kyrie Irving has at least got to say something to you that most people think this will work out in the end. But what about the supporting cast around Luka and Kyrie now? Because aside from constantly hearing how this duo wasn't going to work together, this has got to be the second most frequent statement I've seen since the trade itself. And yes, while looking at it in the sense of losing two of your top 4 scorers outside of Luka Doncic, while also even just thinking in general as to how effective both Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith have been in this offense operating around Luka Doncic over the last year, it still honestly does not change my mind in thinking that this was a good risk taken by the Dallas Mavericks. Because with still having pieces like Christian Wood, Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, and Reggie Bullock all still able to serve as solid perimeter pieces to surround Luka and Kyrie with, but even with remaining guys that haven't even been mentioned yet, like Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, and rookie Jaden Hardy, who's been taking a very solid leap recently as well, I'll just say that the remainder of this roster, while it is not insane by any means, is still seemingly very undervalued as the pick-and-plug pieces that they are. But no matter what happens, regardless of what this team ends up looking like going into the postseason, they are now a far more threatening team to a wide open Western Conference than they were just a little under a week ago. But will it be enough to push them to the reward that they're seeking? As always, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless though, you guys, with everything mentioned so far regarding Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, and the Dallas Mavericks, I am of course also extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about their situation. So again, be sure to let me know in the comments, what are your honest expectations from this Kyrie Irving trade, and how much more improved do you think the Dallas Mavericks will be because of it? And also, if you had to predict it, give me the final record for the Dallas Mavs this season and how far you see them making it in the postseason. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.